The fluorescent lights of the Sterling Heights Public Library hummed overhead, a sound as familiar as my own breathing. My fingers traced the laminated cover of the Joy Luck Club, worn soft by countless hands. Tonight's book club discussion had been lively, mostly retirees and a few stay-at-home moms dissecting generational trauma with decaf coffee and store-bought cookies. Mrs. Henderson, our octogenarian dynamo, patted my arm as she shuffled out. "You always bring such insight, dear Hannah, like you feel these stories." I smiled, a practiced, pleasant curve of my lips. If only she knew. My own generational trauma wasn't nestled safely between book covers, it was a live wire crackling just beneath the surface of every carefully neutral interaction. The chill Michigan air hit me like a slap as I left the library's warmth. My beat-up Honda Civic, reliable despite its groans, started on the second try. The drive home was through quiet, tree-lined streets, past houses glowing warmly against the November dusk. One, a sprawling Tudor with perfectly manicured boxwoods, the Henderson place, always made my chest tighten. It wasn't envy. It was recognition. A life I'd been groomed for, then ejected from. My apartment, a tidy one-bedroom above Mrs. Kowalski's detached garage, felt blessedly peaceful. Kicking off my sensible boots, I sank onto the worn velvet sofa, a thrift store treasure. Silence. Glorious, uncomplicated silence, until my phone buzzed on the chipped coffee table. A photo notification, Instagram, my younger sister, Chloe. There she was, beaming in a designer cocktail dress, arm linked possessively through Dad's, Mom radiating polished elegance beside her. The caption screamed, "So proud of my amazing parents celebrating 35 years at the gala. Hashtag family goals, blessed, hashtag Sterling Heights Elite." The familiar cocktail, resentment, longing, and a deep, aching sadness bubbled up. I slammed the phone face down. Hashtag blessed. Right. Blessed with ignorance, maybe. Blessed with the ability to pretend their eldest daughter didn't exist because she cleans toilets for a living. It hadn't always been like this. Once I was Hannah Davenport, golden child, expected to follow Dad's footsteps into corporate law, or at least marry someone who would. My parents, Arthur and Cynthia Davenport, embodied Sterling Heights success. Dad, partner at Davenport and Pierce, LLP. Mom, president of the Garden Society, her life a meticulously curated display of taste and privilege. Our home on Oak Ridge Drive was a showpiece, immaculate, smelling perpetually of lemon polish and ambition. I'd tried. Pre-law at U of M, the internship at Dad's firm. The suffocating pressure, the constant feeling of being an imposter in my own skin. Panic attacks started senior year, thick and cloying in the sterile conference rooms during depositions. My therapist, a kind woman named Dr. Evans, gently suggested exploring other paths. Your worth isn't tied to a job title, Hannah. Finding that worth started, ironically, in cleaning up my own mess. After dropping out, adrift and ashamed, I'd taken a temporary job with Spotless Solutions to pay rent on a tiny studio. I expected drudgery, humiliation. What I found was unexpected. My trainer was Janice, a woman in her late 50s, with eyes that crinkled when she laughed and hands that told stories of hard work. "All right, kiddo," she'd said on my first day, handing me microfiber cloths and a spray bottle smelling sharply of vinegar. "Rule number 1, dignity ain't in the job description, it's in how you do the job. We make people's lives better. We give them back their space, their peace. That matters." And it did. There was a tangible satisfaction in transforming chaos into order, taking a kitchen crusted with last night's disaster and leaving it gleaming, seeing the genuine relief on a new mom's face when she walked into a sanitized nursery. The rhythmic, physical work quieted the anxious buzz in my head in a way nothing else had. I started feeling capable, grounded. For the first time in years, I slept through the night. I kept it secret, of course, told my parents I was doing administrative work for a small nonprofit. The lies piled up, a flimsy scaffolding holding back the inevitable collapse. It happened at Sunday dinner,
Oak Ridge Drive. Crystal glasses, bone china, Mom's perfectly seared salmon. Chloe, home from her freshman year at Vassar, chattered about her sociology professor. Dad pontificated on market fluctuations. The air was thick with unspoken expectation. When was I getting a real job, meeting a suitable man? So, Hannah, Mom began, her voice smooth as the Chardonnay she sipped, this administrative role, is there any advancement? Perhaps something at your father's firm. Brenda mentioned they need a paralegal. Her smile didn't reach her eyes. The scaffolding creaked. I took a breath, pushing down the familiar panic. Actually, Mom, Dad, I'm not an admin anymore. I've found something else, something I'm good at. Dad lowered his fork. Oh, do tell. His tone was deceptively mild. I'm working for Spotless Solutions, as a cleaner. The words hung in the air, stark and heavy. Chloe choked on her asparagus. Mom's smile froze, then shattered like dropped crystal. Dad's face turned a dangerous shade of puce. Cleaner? Mom whispered the word as if it were obscene. You mean, like a maid?
Like a professional cleaner, yes, I clarified, forcing my voice steady. I manage a team, actually, residential and commercial. We provide an important service. Dad slammed his hand on the polished mahogany table. The silverware jumped. Service! Hannah Elizabeth Davenport, have you lost your mind? We sent you to Michigan. We gave you every opportunity. And you're scrubbing floors? Spittle flew from his lips. Do you have any idea what this looks like? What people will say? The panic surged, but beneath it, a spark of anger ignited. What it looks like, what it is, Dad, is honest work. I'm good at it. I help people. I pay my bills. Honest work? Mom's voice was icy now, her eyes narrowed slits of contempt. It's menial work, Hannah. It's embarrassing. People will think we can't support you. Or worse, that you're... She trailed off, unable to articulate the horror. Common? I supplied, the anger flaring hotter. Is that it? Because I don't wear a suit and push paper around an office like Dad? Because I get my hands dirty? It's beneath you, Dad roared. Beneath this family. We have a reputation. Do you think Arthur Davenport's daughter cleaning toilets reflects well on the firm? On us? Chloe just stared, wide-eyed, shrinking into her chair. So my worth, I said, my voice trembling despite my effort, is tied entirely to how my job reflects on you? Not to whether I'm happy, or healthy, or actually contributing something tangible? Happy, Mom scoffed, a brittle sound. Scrubbing other people's filth? How can that possibly make you happy? It's degrading. It's a waste of your intelligence, your education. She looked genuinely bewildered, as if I'd announced I enjoyed eating worms. It makes me happy because I see the results, I shot back. Because I'm not drowning in panic attacks anymore. Because I'm not pretending to be someone I'm not. Because Janice, my boss, values me for my work ethic, not my last name. Janice? Dad sneered. Your cleaning lady boss? The contempt in his voice was the final straw. Yes, Dad, Janice, who worked 2 jobs to put her daughter through nursing school, who treats her team with respect, who doesn't measure people's worth by their zip code or their job title. I stood up, my chair scraping loudly. I'm sorry my choice embarrasses you, but it's my choice, and it's my life. The silence that followed was absolute, thick with fury and disbelief. Dad's jaw worked. Mom's knuckles were white on her napkin. Then you leave us no choice, Hannah, Dad said, his voice dangerously low. If you choose this path over your family, over the life we built for you, then you choose to walk it alone. We will not be associated with this charade. Mom nodded stiffly, refusing to meet my eyes. It's for the best, Hannah. Perhaps some time away will help you see sense. Come back when you've found a suitable career.
The words landed like physical blows. Disowned. Not with dramatic shouts, but with cold, final pronouncements. My own parents, choosing their social standing over their daughter. I looked at Chloe. She quickly looked down at her plate, tears welling but silent, complicit in their silence. "Right," I whispered, the fight draining out of me, replaced by a hollow ache. "I'll get my things." I had a few boxes still in my old room. Walking out of that house 20 minutes later, carrying a cardboard box filled with childhood relics and a few clothes, felt like stepping off a cliff. The heavy oak door clicked shut behind me with terrible finality. The chill November air seeped into my bones, deeper than before. Oak Ridge Drive, with its perfect lawns and silent judgment, watched me leave. The next few weeks were a blur of numb survival, finding the apartment above Mrs. Kowalski's garage, using every cent of my savings for the deposit. Janice, bless her, took one look at my haunted eyes the next morning and simply said, "Rough one, kiddo? Let's tackle the Johnson account. They got hit with the stomach flu. Needs the full biohazard protocol. You game?" The brutal physical work was a perverse salvation. There was no room for existential dread when wrestling with biohazard bags and industrial-strength disinfectant. The silence from Oak Ridge was deafening. No calls, no texts, just nothing. Chloe sent a single cryptic message a week later. "Mom and Dad are really hurt, Han. Maybe just apologize? Get a different job?" I didn't reply. Apologize for what? For existing outside their narrow definition of acceptable? My found family became my co-workers at Spotless Solutions. Maria, a single mom whose laugh could shake dust from the rafters, who smuggled me tamales for strength. Ben, a quiet Vietnam vet with steady hands and endless patience, who taught me the zen of perfectly streak-free windows. And Janice, our fierce, pragmatic matriarch, who ran her business with fairness and an unwavering belief in the dignity of their work. They didn't ask prying questions. They saw I was hurting, and they offered practical support: a spare chair for my apartment, leads on cheap furniture, shared thermoses of strong coffee in the van between jobs. Their acceptance was a balm.
One crisp December morning, we were cleaning a large law office downtown. Expensive art on the walls, thick carpets, the hushed atmosphere of power and money. It felt jarringly familiar. As I polished the vast conference table, the same model Dad had in his office, my phone buzzed. An unknown number. Sterling Heights area code. Against my better judgment, I answered. "Hello? Hannah?" It was Mom's voice, tight, clipped. No greeting. No, "How are you?" Mom. The word felt foreign. "We need you to come by the house, today, around 3. It wasn't a request. It was an order. Why? My guard was instantly up. "There are matters to discuss. Legal matters, concerning your situation." Her tone dripped with distaste. "My situation? You mean the life you disowned me for?" I couldn't keep the bitterness out. 3 o'clock, Hannah. Don't be late. Click. The dial tone hummed in my ear. Dread pooled in my stomach. Legal matters? What now? Were they suing me? For what? Embarrassment? I finished polishing the table with furious energy, the citrus scent of the cleaner doing nothing to calm my nerves. At 2:55 p.m., I stood on the familiar porch of the Oak Ridge house. The wreath on the door was tasteful, expensive. I rang the bell, half expecting no one to answer. Mom opened the door. She looked thinner, sharper. Her gaze swept over me, taking in my clean but worn jeans, my Spotless Solutions fleece jacket over a plain sweater. Her lip curled almost imperceptibly. "You're punctual. Come in." The house was its usual immaculate self, smelling faintly of furniture polish and tension. Dad sat in his leather wingback chair in the living room, not the den. A sign this was serious business. He didn't stand, didn't offer a greeting. A manila envelope lay on the coffee table. "Sit," Dad commanded, gesturing to the sofa opposite him.
Mom perched rigidly on its edge as if afraid it might contaminate her. I sat. The silence stretched, thick and uncomfortable. Dad finally picked up the envelope. "We've consulted with Franklin," he began, referring to their longtime lawyer. "Given your chosen path and your apparent determination to persist in it despite the embarrassment it causes this family—" "Arthur," Mom murmured, a warning. He ignored her. "We feel it's necessary to formalize the separation, to protect the family assets and reputation." He slid a single sheet of paper from the envelope and pushed it across the gleaming coffee table towards me. The paper crackled in the silence. At the top, bold black letters, "Cease and Desist Notice." My eyes scanned the cold legal jargon. It demanded I immediately stop using the surname Davenport in any professional capacity or public forum. It stated that my employment with Spotless Solutions was causing reputational harm and undue distress to Arthur and Cynthia Davenport. It forbade me from representing myself in any way as being affiliated with Davenport and Pierce, LLP, or the Davenport family. It threatened further legal action if I did not comply. I looked up, disbelief warring with a fresh wave of crushing hurt. You're suing me for using my own name? For having a job?" "It's not a lawsuit, yet," Dad said coolly. "It's a formal request. Your association with that company, while bearing our name, creates confusion and damages our standing. We built something here, Hannah, something we intend to protect." "Confusion?" I choked out a bitter laugh. Who on earth would confuse Arthur Davenport, Esquire, with Hannah Davenport, the cleaner? Unless you think your high society friends are suddenly hiring Spotless Solutions and getting me by mistake? The absurdity was staggering. "It's about perception," Mom snapped, her composure cracking. "People talk, Hannah. They see your name on that van. They see you in those clothes. It reflects poorly. We have social obligations. Chloe is trying to make connections."
Chloe, of course. Protecting the remaining compliant daughter's prospects. The hurt crystallized into something harder, colder. "So," I said, my voice surprisingly steady, "you want me to stop being Hannah Davenport? To erase myself? Because my existence, as I am, is an inconvenience? We want you to understand the consequences of your choices," Dad stated flatly, "and to cease actions that deliberately cause us harm." I picked up the cease-and-desist letter. The paper felt flimsy, yet it carried the weight of their rejection. I studied it, the crisp black type, the embossed letterhead of Franklin's firm. Then, slowly, deliberately, I tore it in half. Then quarters. The ripping sound was obscenely loud in the pristine room. Mom gasped. Dad's face flushed crimson. "Hannah!" he bellowed. "I am Hannah Davenport," I said, meeting his furious gaze head-on. "That's the name on my birth certificate. That's the name I've lived with for 28 years. It's my name. You don't get to take it away because you don't like how I earn a living with it." I dropped the torn pieces onto their immaculate coffee table. "If Franklin wants to waste your money suing me for using my own name while cleaning offices, he's welcome to try. I doubt the judge will see it your way. But go ahead. Add legal fees to the cost of disowning your daughter." I stood up. The hollow ache was still there, but it was filled now with a fierce, burning certainty. "You were right about one thing, Dad. We are separated. Permanently. Don't contact me again, unless it's through a process server." I turned and walked out, leaving the torn pieces of their ultimatum on the table and the heavy silence of their disapproval behind me. I didn't look back. The click of the door this time felt like freedom, even as tears stung my eyes. Life settled into a new rhythm, a quieter one, defined by work, my small apartment, the book club, and the genuine camaraderie of my Spotless Solutions family. The holidays were hard.
The first Christmas without the Davenport family spectacle of presents under a designer tree. Instead, I spent Christmas Eve with Janice, Maria, Ben, and their assorted kids and grandkids at Janice's cozy, chaotic house. Paper plates, loud laughter, slightly burnt ham, and a warmth that had nothing to do with the thermostat. Maria's youngest, Lila, presented me with a clumsily wrapped bar of soap. "For your work, Tia Hannah." It was the best gift I'd received in years. Spring arrived, bringing rain and the promise of renewal. One rainy Tuesday afternoon, I was finishing up a deep clean on a beautiful old Victorian home near the library. The owners, the Wilsons, were a sweet retired couple who always left homemade cookies and a thank you note. As I was packing my supplies in the van, a sleek black Mercedes pulled up behind me. My heart stuttered. I knew that car. The driver's door opened. Chloe stepped out, holding a large, tastefully wrapped gift basket. She looked nervous, fiddling with the handle. Her eyes darted from my Spotless Solutions van to my uniform, navy polo, khakis, sensible sneakers. A flicker of something, discomfort, pity, crossed her face. "Hannah," she said, forcing a smile. "Hi."
Chloe. I kept my voice neutral, closing the van doors. "What are you doing here?" Mom sent me." She held out the basket. It was overflowing with expensive cheeses, imported crackers, gourmet coffee, and a bottle of premium Chardonnay. They wanted you to have this. I didn't take it. Why? Chloe shifted her weight, looking uncomfortable in the drizzle. They know things have been hard, especially around the holidays. And, she took a breath, Mrs. Henderson from your book club, she plays bridge with Mom. She mentioned how much she values you, how insightful you are. Chloe looked down at the basket. I think it surprised them, Mom especially. Surprised them that someone finds value in me? I asked, unable to keep the edge out. Despite the toilet scrubbing? Chloe flinched. It's not like that, Han. They don't understand. They never will. But maybe Mrs. Henderson made them think. She thrust the basket towards me again. Please, just take it. It's an olive branch, sort of. An olive branch wrapped in cellophane and privilege. A peace offering that cost them nothing and acknowledged nothing. I looked at my sister, caught between the world she was raised in and the sister she'd been told to forget. I saw the strain around her eyes, the weight of being the good daughter left behind. I reached out and took the basket. It was heavy, impersonal. Tell Mom thanks, I said, my voice flat. And tell her Mrs. Henderson is right. I am insightful. I know the value of things. And people. I turned and opened the van door, placing the ostentatious basket on the passenger seat beside my worn thermos and Janice's clipboard. I climbed into the driver's seat. Chloe still stood in the rain, looking lost. "Chloe?" I called out before closing the door. She looked up, hopeful. Tell them the cease and desist was a bridge too far, even for them. That basket? I gestured towards it. It doesn't cover the toll. I started the engine. As I pulled away from the curb, I saw her still standing there in the rearview mirror, a lonely figure in the rain, holding on to an empty gesture from a family that had forgotten how to truly connect. The scent of expensive cheese and coffee filled the van, a stark contrast to the familiar smells of lemon polish and bleach. I drove back to the Spotless Solutions office, the weight of the gift basket a physical reminder of the gulf that remained, wide and seemingly uncrossable. But the weight in my chest felt different now, lighter somehow. Not the crushing grief of rejection, but the solid, unyielding weight of knowing my own worth, polish-stained hands and all. I belonged to myself now, and that was enough.